Hello everyone, and welcome to my commentary on episode 5 of It's Never Cloudy in Colorado, titled Derek YouTube Prank Star. I'm Kyle. I play Richard, as well as do a bunch of other things in this show. And in this episode specifically, I kind of wound up directing most of it, because whoever's not on camera is behind the camera, and since I'm in almost none of this episode, I got to direct most of it. And by direct, I literally just mean I held the camera and was watching the shot as it was happening. Since normally what we do is we set a tripod, and we kind of have to hope and pray that we're all in frame for the whole thing. When one of us can, we'll stand behind the camera and make sure that everything remains within the frame. So what I want to do with this episode is kind of take you through the process, starting from conception all the way to final product. Because throughout filming, there's been two episodes that I would call the beasts of the show, and the first one was the first episode that took us a full 3 years to make, and then this one is my smaller beast that took us about a year to do. And so let's just jump into how this all came to be.
Just come on! Alright, I'm losing interest, Cam.
The way we kind of make episodes is either we have a concept for a story that we want to tell,
Derek is a pranker?
and it's really just a vague concept. We have a scene that we want to use, or we have a title. And so, for example, the first episode, The Gang Buys a Sister, we had the story concept of us trying to make our lives like Sunny by buying someone to be our version of D. In Camavert's Disaster, all we had was a dream Derek had where Dalton was breastfeeding a baby, and so we wrote an entire episode to tell that scene.
No, the second one.
And in this one, all we had was the title Derek YouTube Prank Star, and we worked to make an entire episode around it. So
I think we're getting off track.
the title, it came from Derek wanting to do an episode where we kind of tackle YouTube pranks. And so he just created the title, and that was it. And I think initially what we were going to do is we were going to actually work this into a different episode that I don't know if it will come to be or not, called The Gang Goes to Walmart. And we were going to film an entire episode in Walmart, just messing around with things in Walmart. And Derek's story arc in that was he was going to be filming himself, quote-unquote, pranking the people of Walmart. By just like walking up to them and doing awkward things. And we thought it was funny, and then we decided not to go with it. And then we were going to do something where Derek was a little more mean-spirited, and kind of more like prank channels that are actually on YouTube. And we kind of started to roll with that before deciding that it didn't really work. And eventually what happened was we were watching an iDubbbz video. He did a content cop on a prank channel called How to Prank It Up, and we thought the pranks that he highlighted in that video were so like outlandish and dumb that we wanted to see what it would be like if someone were to actually do those pranks. And because our characters are just three idiots, who better to run these stupid pranks, because you know, Derek's willing to think that they'll work, Cam will make them work, and then Richard is there, and so he's not in the episode much because that would kind of ruin it.
Okay. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt what's going on here, but I heard you say PR nightmare, and I just want to make one thing pretty clear. I don't really want to do the PR.
Here's what I like to see in a show, is I like a show where I can kind of connect to it through some mean, and then I like a show that has a sense of connection throughout. And so what I mean by that is, you know, if what I like is if I could follow like an Instagram page for a character in a show, not an actor but a character, just because I think that would be kind of fun, you know. It's like a way to connect with the show and make it feel a little more real. And so we decided to do that with this episode, and we decided to make a prank channel for the character Derek to post to. And then I also like when a show kind of has reoccurring themes or jokes throughout, and it gives it a little more rewatchability. And so what we did in our show was, like, you could see in the first episode, Derek's like filming something in the background. And what it turns out is that that's the intro video to his Prankstar channel. And so we put a lot of thought into this, and we tried to weave it throughout. And so there's clips in the show that connect to this episode, and there's clips out of show on the Derek YouTube Prankstar channel that connect to other episodes of the show. And so it was just all kind of fun things that we were doing, and we were filming the pranks to put on the channel and weaving them into other episodes. But we didn't know what the story was for this episode. And so by the time we kind of, in the writing process, we had ideas for pranks, but no story based around them. And so all we had was just a bunch of non sequitur pranks. And I think we're kind of worried about this episode because it's a funny concept, but what do we do with it? And so when we were writing for this, basically when I was writing for the show initially, I kind of sat down and wrote 4 or 5 episodes all at once. And they were all episodes that kind of I had a little more to do with. This one was more of Derek's baby. He had kind of conceived the idea, and so I didn't have any kind of story to go with it, and so I didn't write it. And then we sat down, and after kind of working through a bunch of other episodes, like actually filming other episodes, we then sat down to write this one, and I think it paid off in a big way because we kind of got a sense of who our characters were a little more. And the story kind of started to build itself. So throughout the show, we kind of tease like Dalton for being a thespian and always wanting to be in productions of things. And then we already had the idea that Derek had this channel, and so kind of through the trial, we put it all together, and we were like, all right, so that's the story, is Derek has the channel, Dalton, or Cam wants to be in that channel. And so we thought it would be funny if Cam's kind of trying to weasel his way into this thing the whole time, and he's always screwing it up. And so that was the whole story. And the problem with that was, again, we didn't have an ending. And so, again, we just left the script, and we stopped working on it. We continued to film pranks, we continued to film other episodes, but we stopped with writing this one. And then, finally, when we ran out of things to write, and we ran out of things to film, we sat down and we were like, okay, we have to hash this thing out. It's time that we finish this one. And I think that this was just a black cloud over us because we didn't know how we wanted it to end, and we thought it was kind of weak. And as Derek has done before, it just, a spark of brilliance hit, and he was like, what if Derek lets Cam in, but he's kind of masterminding this whole thing, where he lets Cam in, he's going to let Cam fail, Cam's going to screw up so bad that he has to delete the channel, and then Cam no longer knows about it. And so it all just came together kind of in that moment. And we wrote out the rest of the episode, and we thought it was funny, and we kind of got excited to film it, and then we started filming it, and we realized the big problem with it. So at this point, we were kind of good at filming. We could keep things down to a few takes. It didn't take us very long to do, and then so we could kind of hash out an episode pretty quick. And we started doing that with this episode, where we filmed like the first few scenes all at once, and we filmed the end scene at the same time. And so we had like half the episode done in one night, and then all of a sudden we couldn't do anything more. because we had just a bunch of actors that we needed to start including as the people we were pranking. And that is got to be the greatest challenge of this show, is branching out outside of our three characters and including literally anyone else, because it is so hard to just get like 5 people in one scene, even 4 people, just because everyone's got such a different schedule, and so finding that one sweet time where it can all work is just impossible. So that's kind of why this episode took an entire year to do. We started it way early. I think it was back in maybe November of 2018. And we filmed, like I said, the first block of film was the first few scenes and then the ending where Cam's crying on the couch, but only our perspective of that. And then throughout time we started to check off the little boxes, like we got the pranks filmed with like Alex and with Derek's manager and with Michael, and then it all kind of ended where we filmed the Goji fan prank way out in August of 2019. So that's about 9 months right there to get that done. And then you know, I kind of took my time sorting these clips and getting it all ready for Derek to edit, and then we finally sat down to edit it, and it was literally like watching this all from scratch. Like, I can't believe the episode came out kind of so cohesively, because it was filmed so broken apart that, like, I don't know how we kept it in our minds where we were at in the story, but I think it all flows well. I think it was kind of crazy sitting in the editing room and putting together the episode and just being like, I literally do not remember filming this at all. So it's a very strange experience for this one, but I think it turned out really well.
Just one more try.
Dude, how many chances am I gonna have to give?
So in terms, let's see, now I guess I can kind of follow along with the episode now that I have the story down, essentially. Now that we're over halfway done with it, and kind of tell you about what we're seeing. This scene, I would say, was probably this one I would say is my scene. I feel like I remember doing most of the writing for this one. Derek and I write the episodes together for the most part. Now, we didn't used to. I used to write them, and then Derek would just come in and edit them. But now we kind of sit together and we write them. And I feel like he probably did 90% of this. I maybe helped do some of the pranks. We adapted some pranks from pre-existing content. But yeah, this scene was kind of mine, and I pat myself on the back because I think it's pretty funny. A lot of that has to do with Dalton, though. Let me tell you about my guy Dalton real quick. When filming this scene, we couldn't keep a straight face watching him, and we would laugh, and I'm holding the camera, and I actually laughed while watching them and ruined takes because of it. But this little turd here, after the first take we did, he just goes, "You better get used to it, because I'm going to say something different every time," and every slight change he would make would just kill us. They were so unexpected and so hilarious, and it really played well together in the scene. But I just think it's so funny that these two can't get on the same page, and Cam's got his own warped perception of himself, which is hilarious. And my favorite joke, possibly in the entire series, is the movie twins joke. I think that one's pretty funny. Sticklers for continuity in this scene will get quite upset knowing that Cam is wearing the wrong shirt right now. He should be in his gray Black Panther shirt, which he wears in the scene before this and the scene following this. And this outfit is actually his beginning of the episode outfit that he does through what would have been the first in-universe day, and then boom, there's that change to where he's wearing the Black Panther shirt again.
About the channel. He knows who we are. You have to delete it. I'm not deleting shit, dude. I worked way too hard on the channel. Did you hear what he said to me? He said he was gonna tear my ass open. I can't have that.
This scene was filmed on what I guess would be considered day 2 of filming, which would have actually probably been like
What? Shut up.
a whole month after we filmed the first few scenes.
Move on.
And I was actually not behind the camera. Right now, it's Derek's manager, or the D manager, as his fans call him. Meanwhile, I'm sitting off to the side reading these two their lines, because when you put these two in a scene together, it's just impossible to get it done, because they will make each other laugh so continuously. All one of them has to do is literally change their face slightly, and the other one will start dying laughing. And so in order to try and keep them on track, I sat there with the script to read them their lines when they'd forget, and the D manager filmed it.
Thinking about what's going on here.
All right, and then this is back to I'm almost, no, it couldn't have been on the first night of filming because we have the new couch. See, this is what I'm talking about. I have no idea when this got filmed. Obviously after we got the new couch. So probably at least after January. So this came a couple months into filming, which should just tell you how chaotic this whole thing is. And I don't know why I'm wearing that shirt in that case, because this is the same shirt that I'm wearing in the beginning of the episode. And presumably at some point Richard changed clothes, but apparently not. Oh, the couch is another kind of good story. So, like I said, we filmed this kind of in conjunction with episode 6. And so we were filming them at the same time because we just had so much downtime on this episode. We wanted to keep working. And so we started working on the next episode. And we finished the entire next episode like months before we finished this one. And the deadline started to come up, and we were getting a little worried that we weren't going to have this episode done and ready to post on time. And so I was like, okay, look, we have episode 6 done. What if we just post it out of order? And Derek was like, no, absolutely not, because we have the new couch in the end of this last one, and then we have the new couch in the entire next one. So it's not going to make sense if in one we have a new couch, and then in the one that follows it, we don't have the couch until the very end. And so for anyone that's big on continuity, he was looking out for you, because this would have been wrong otherwise. But he fought for it, and he won. And ultimately, I'm more satisfied with it because I do like the continuity. But at the same time, if worse had come to worse and we didn't have this one ready, I would have still fought to put that other one out so that you guys could have the content on time. But probably something I would have lost, considering I don't edit these. And so all I would have had was a bunch of clips.
Well, I could still control things. See, if he had found out about the channel naturally...
I know Derek pointed it out in the... in his commentary, but we have a couple like How I Met Your Mother references in this episode, where Cam uses a line out of one of the episodes, and I'm reading the playbook, and this whole bit right here was inspired by the way they show Barney's plays in that show. And I'd love to say that we were smart enough to throw all of those in together intentionally, but it was not that way at all. They were all 3 separate things. Some of them happened literally in the moment, like the book was just the first thing I grabbed when I was sitting on the bed. And so, yeah, I wish that we could have more credit, but I can't do it because we're not actually that clever. Such a awkward ending. Because this clip is probably another 2 minutes long of Dalton just sitting on the couch crying into SpongeBob's face. But I mean, what better thing to cry into than SpongeBob, because he'll just absorb it all. Well, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this commentary. I'll catch you on the next one.